Good evening. I'm Greer McGeary, President of Seahorse Victoria.
Hi, I'm Elisabeth Lane, Treasurer of Seahorse Victoria.
Elisabeth, welcome. What we're planning to talk about tonight is the process or the planning that goes into transitioning.
Okay, well, I'm a bit of a meticulous planner. When I was considering transition, I actually went and saw the psych, got through all the process, jumped through all the hoops, and then started that was May 2014. I then thought, okay, who am I going to tell? What do I say to them? And what order do I do it? Because when you start letting the cat out of the bag, the cat's out of the bag. So I actually didn't transition until December. So while I was planning this, I was thinking, okay, first person I tell. For me, that was simple. It's my son. How do I tell him? He had no idea. So what do I say? For that, I actually turned around there and wrote a letter with everything I needed in it because I didn't know his reaction. So he comes over, I give him the letter and tell him to put it in his bag and not open it. And he's like, what? Just, please, bear with me. He does that, then I tell him. Now he actually took it really way better than I ever expected. It's like, after about 2 minutes of process, he walked up and hugged me, which he hadn't done since he was about 8. And I'm just like, okay, well, that went well.
The challenge of telling the first of the family members is really emotionally draining. How much agony had you gone through before getting to that?
I was concerned. We had a very close bond, and same with his stepmother. She had a very close bond to him as well. And then actually in the letter, I'd said, look, I'll wait day, week, month, year, decade, don't care. I'll be there if you need me. And I also told him, I said, if you can't speak to me, then speak to Mel. If you're in trouble, she can help you. He was about 21 at the time. He's a young adult. And as I said, that was not needed, but it was something I was concerned about because I really didn't want to lose touch with him.
So the next step, you obviously put a lot of thought and care into the way you explained it to your son. Did you then make a list of who you needed to tell and in what order?
Yes, and in detail what I wanted to say. It's actually about, the paper was this thick when I was finished. And the order to me was very important because someone I may need to tell early, but I've got to trust them to keep their mouth closed till I get to everyone, to the last person on the list. And I was doing home and work simultaneously. So as I said, I told my director at work and told a few of the managers at work, but then the official announcement, which came through about a month and a half later, right, got to trust them to keep their mouths closed, and I had to plan how I tell them. Well, and I said the home and work happening at the same time. The main reason I had to tell work was there was a time when work was flat out, there's no leave being given, and I managed to get 3 days leave to go to Brisbane to tell my parents. And everyone at work was like, how'd you get 3 days leave? What'd you do? I'll tell you in a short while. And like when I told my parents, that was a scary time. Had the same thing with them. I had the letter fully written out, gave it to them, told them to put it in their bag, and then I told them. Now my parents are quite conservative. I was really pleased after 10 minutes I hadn't been thrown out of the house. It took a long time for them to fully grasp it. I don't know if they ever have. I'm family and that's the way it is. But they've been actually really good. They've handled it way better than I ever thought they could have.
That was developing the order. Now, I understand from a work point of view, it's a bit more detailed that you needed to do.
Processes were in place, but the documentation dated back to about 2006. And literally my manager, I was actually leading my manager through it. He was trying to figure out, okay, how do I handle this? He's like, I thought I heard it all. I don't know what to do. So I basically took him through it. I mean, I had a very fair idea how I wanted to go about it and what I wanted to do. One thing I was really pleased with, they let me run it. Occasionally saying, hey, what about this? Did you think about this? I'm like, well, and normally when they said that, it was actually worth listening to because they'd taken a different approach, which I had not considered. So, okay, let's add that in. Like one thing they said to me was, when I announced the transition, I thought, like, I'm out of there. I'm going to go transition then and there. And they said, no, wait 2 weeks. Tell everyone and then give it 2 weeks. Now, I'm like, no, I'm out of there. And basically, they asked me to take them on faith on that, and which I did. It proved to be brilliant because the next day, someone at work was like, can we go to a room and have a chat? I got questions. And all that, a lot of it was aired. And everyone who asked me a question was a supporter afterwards. That worked better than expected. And like it's one thing I've said to others who have transitioned afterwards, stay a couple of weeks. People come and they want to talk to you. They're going to say, taking you aside somewhere, just have a private chat. They're trying to understand. And since when I came back after taking a break, I came back as a female. It was much easier. It really was. It felt natural.
With some of the, as you said, some of the procedures that you had to step your immediate management through, did the higher organisation have procedures which were more up to date?
They do now.
Is that as a result of what you did?
Yeah, that was a result of that. They actually turned around there and I actually asked if I could update the procedures, and they were very receptive. And what I found is a couple of people have transitioned since me and update them each time. Like the biggest problem I had was bureaucracy. You change your name, you had to change it at 4 separate locations. So I actually went in back to work, and my old name was still appearing, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And no one had realised that. So the next person transitioned, like the person transitioned last year. It is so easy, which is actually good. This has been progressive, but it's worked really well.
What were the main negative aspects of transition that you found in the workplace?
Not everyone is going to accept you for who you are. I lost some friends, people I thought I could trust. I found I couldn't really trust them. And I said, if people don't accept you, if they can have a go at you, they will. But what surprised me with all that was when a couple of people did have a go at me, people who were not my friend turned out there and said, this is crap, and actually stood by me. People I did not count on and didn't expect, and that was unexpected. I expected to be facing this alone. I was really surprised by that.
Did you find there was a specific thing that was central to a lot of the rejection?
Using the bathroom, using the ladies' toilet. That was the main thing that was pushed. I said management handled it very well, I have to admit. I have rights as a human being. I have a right to be treated for who I am. And they made sure that went through.
The things that, particularly with people that you thought you could trust, did you have a good relationship with them from a work point of view and social point of view prior to transition?
Yes, I did. Work point of view, it remained pretty much the same. Social point of view pretty well died. And I just let it wither. I mean, I expected rejection. And you're foolish to transition and not expect at least some people to reject you. So I prepared for it and planned for it. I planned for losing friends, planned for losing family, planned for even losing my job. I worked as a meticulous plan. I planned for that. So if I lose my job, what happens? Well, how do you go about it? If you get sidelined, there's redundancies, you're redundant. You know, then how do you deal with that? And I actually made plans right across the board for everything to reinvent myself and come back.
So in summary, you'd think recommending for anyone who is in the process of wanting to transition to be meticulous about the way you plan it before.
Be realistic. Spend time planning it. Don't rush into this. You only get one shot at it. Doing it right makes life easier for yourself and everyone around you. Like I said, I'm a meticulous planner. I probably went maybe even too far, but the main thing is think realistically. What if you lose your best friend? You don't know. And I said, I've been surprised by some of the reactions I've had, both positive and negative.
So in short, been a successful transition?
Yeah, I kept about 80 to 90% of my friends and family, so I think I did pretty well.
Thank you, Elisabeth, for sharing your story about transition tonight. I'm Greer McGeary. Thank you for watching.